game. Good luck.
Indecision is making a fairly good point in chat that steel definitely gets its price bumped up a bit more than carbon does by the neutral colony, it seems. So that can be a bit of an issue for Scavenger. On the other hand, with certain stages of that game, steel was still almost useless because of iron's particular price. Certainly could have attacked when the switch to iron was made, and then after iron's price tanks, the Scavenger can move into steel production just as easily as the robotic player can. So there's no excuse for Scavengers just letting steel get out of control and not getting any benefit out of it whatsoever. Really nice carbon spot for Scavengers at the start of this game. A little worried about aluminum.
Well, aluminum is just like right there, basically.
Small amounts though.
Yeah, it's sufficient for him to get a boost.
I don't know. It's not a whole lot of it. He might be able to work off of it, but only if there's no real good source somewhere else on the map that Dancing Bogman doesn't grab up first.
I think he's waiting for Dancing Bogman to clear the map. Oh, nope, he got it.
Has been identified.
It's a race. It's a
Too
race.
late, too far away. Soren's going to win that one pretty handily. We do have some resources way up in the northwest corner.
I saw. Oh, no.
What are these going to turn out to be? A lot of iron and water. Well, that's something.
I got the aluminum from you.
Alright, fine.
Whoa, Dancing Bogman actually getting all 3 aluminum tiles. That is a bit of a risk. Is there some more? Oh, 1 aluminum tile left.
One more.
Tiny little low, lonely aluminum tile. This could be a very interesting little game. I don't know what happened here. I was sure Soren was going to win this race.
Soren got it. What happened to the aluminum? I thought Soren got it.
I thought Soren was going to have it too. Apparently, we just weren't seeing everything quite as... It wasn't being updated correctly is probably what it came down to. It's just going to be a network thing. Pirates coming up. Has Dancing Bogman learned his lesson? Looks like it. He's definitely driving this a lot higher.
Right. Yeah.
Both players show how valuable these pirates
That
are.
would be amazing if he steals his aluminum.
My primary concern is if Dancing Bogman is going to go completely the opposite direction. Having seen what happened last game, is he going to push too far and just start driving these auctions too high?
I hope he doesn't adopt another extreme.
Yeah. Yeah, you can go extreme on very, very certain things, but you can't do it the whole time one way or the other. You've got to find that nice middle ground sometimes. Pirates haven't gone down yet. Probably acceptable.
Would you use that pirate right now on his aluminum, or would you wait for later?
He could. It kind of depends. Dancing Bogman also has the option of simply doing something like, well, pirating the aluminum. He is going to do it. That's fine. Another option was to just underground nuke the aluminum and then hold the pirates. Wait and see exactly what else he could pirate later in the game. Or just pirate carbon. Take away all his resources. Why not?
Yeah. I mean, you could always use the underground nuke to kill his carbon.
Mm-hmm. Now, Dancing Bogman is going to have to push to an upgrade before too terribly long. Thankfully, he does have okay access to iron. Not spectacular iron, but acceptable.
He has to upgrade so he could claim some tiles. Thorn is claiming all the good ones.
Yeah, he doesn't want to sell this aluminum at all. He's trying to let the price go as high as possible, and then possibly take some advantages off of it. Nope, there we go. Finally deciding to upgrade. He could have done that a long time ago. I don't know if it was wise to wait that long on your initial level 2 upgrade before even getting up simple steel
The levels
production
of
for your
mistakes
base.
are not yet that high. It's not like it's not yet determining who's going to be cost the game because of that.
Yeah. I'm also a little surprised at Dancing Bogman's positioning of his steel mills. They actually went farther away from his colony, so it's going to be difficult for him to link those up with the rest of his base.
Sorn is trying to get to the aluminium by mutinying his mill.
Can be an okay option. Dancing Bogman has a fairly easy counter if he chooses to take it, but I don't know if he will. Just mutiny it right back. The problem is, if he wanted to do that, he would actually end up selling aluminum to achieve it. And that would tank the price and kind of be counterproductive. But either way, this is a bit of a problem for him, and he's going to need to address it. Would love to see a little bit more black market action out of Dancing Bogman. We've already seen one hit out of Soren. If Soren can afford it, Dancing Bogman almost certainly can as well. And I think he definitely needs to start being a bit more aggressive on that end in these 1v1 scenarios. Oh, there we go.
Oh boy.
The game does this. I actually, honestly, I kind of hate that the game does this a little bit. Because it makes it so much less valuable to go ahead and try and take the monopoly.
Yeah, it just ruins what you're doing.
Ruins your whole plan, and it's totally random.
The whole point is for me to hog it.
Yeah. Now, obviously, Dancing Bogman can do things like nuke it out, try and keep it away from him, drive the price up insanely high, but he has to make sure, once again, that you don't go too far the other direction. Soren's just going to let him have it for that 28,000 debt, and I don't know if he's going to be able to make that up in time to actually save himself.
It only comes once.
Even an aluminum mine going down on that. Might have liked to see aluminum's making him a fair amount of money, but he already has a large stockpile of it. He's going to have even more once he fixes this mutiny situation. Maybe this could have been a solar panel, and it would have been a bit more beneficial.
Yes, he wouldn't have to protect it as much.
Yes. Because as it stands now, this is actually just another mutiny target in a lot of ways.
Plus, if he has 4 or 5 tiles of aluminum, he has to protect all of them.
Solar panel coming down for Soren, not valuing his carbon at all, totally understandable. He's sitting on 600 carbon and it's worth $9. It's just time to get out of it for a while. And this is what I'm talking about with Dancing Bogman. His stock price is already down at 3.7. It's going to be coming back up for a little bit as he gets more of his base built and things like that, but then it's probably just going to start plummeting again as he accumulates more and more and more debt, and that interest keeps piling up. I'm very concerned.
Someone in the room saying that he should have nuked it after Soren mutinized it. That would have been lovely.
It would have been funny, but I mean, when it came back 2 minutes later, it was just going to be a nuked tile for himself, and that might have been kind of sad. I'd much rather have just seen a simple mutiny on back. To retake the tile, you're out $2,000, but your opponent is still out all of his aluminum play, so...
He should protect it. Yeah. And buy a mutiny so he won't make it so expensive. It makes it so expensive for Soren to mutiny.
Soren going for another mutiny, perfectly reasonable. That's going to be making him a good $90 to $100 a second in aluminum, depending on how this price sits for the duration. And I don't know if Dancing Bogman's going to counter this time. It's even more expensive to counter mutiny at this point. That's another fantastic thing about countering a mutiny with a mutiny. If your resource stays valuable, it's even harder for your opponent to press to that next one and try and take it from you.
He should not worry about protecting it. He should not worry about the goon squad as much as buying a mutiny. A mutiny can take it back and make it also more expensive for Soren to purchase.
Now, one thing I will give Dancing Bogman this game, he is upgrading fairly quickly, especially considering he was not honestly in the greatest position where he founded. And so he's already made it to level 4. This is helping to inflate his stock price. His power production also helping to inflate his stock price and actually start paying off his debt, despite the fact that he's having to purchase so many electronics. So he's still in this game for sure.
Oh.
But another aluminum auction. It's just, I mean, doesn't it just hurt? Doesn't it just hurt at this point? Like, you've committed so many tiles to this, and you have so much debt developed, and it's not worth anything because you had to make so much of it, and your opponent's been mutinying, and the game just decided, man, I really should have put some high aluminum tiles here. Why don't we do that now? It's awful.
That is. Also, it's a good thing so you can talk to Soren about this. I mean, once it's maybe reasonable, but twice that's crazy.
It is a little bit crazy.
Defeats the whole point.
Yes, Soren, let's distract you right now. Fix your game. Come on. Stop being sick. Do things
he can't hear you.
I know.
He can't hear me.
I know.
So
it's still funny to imagine. So, good silicon production coming in for Soren. He does have this one silicon tile, 1.5 a second, making him a huge amount of money right now. We're talking a good 130, 140, perhaps, even after power at that point. The mutiny on aluminum finally running out. Aluminum's down to $4, not too big a deal. And another silicon shortage coming in. What is this garbage? This is 2 silicon shortages right in a row. On top of that, everybody had built solar panels, and so that drove the price up even more. One thing this is going to do is make additional power very, very hard to place for everybody. But on top of that, this whole time we've been talking, people have been using these silicon shortages to purchase up quite a bit of stock in Dancing Bogman. Captain owning about half of it, Dancing Bogman owning 4 and 1 share still open. So we'll see what they can do with that.
He's losing 135 per tick on electronics.
I'm really, really worried that this silicon shortage, combined with Dancing Bogman's complete neglect of it, are just going to end Dancing Bogman's game. He could have maybe gotten a mutiny on this silicon tile earlier, taken that away when it turned into $100 per silicon. He could be power surging it right now. He could be mutinying it right now. He could have just nuked it out, for all I care. And it would have been a much better decision than whatever he's doing at the moment in not purchasing the black market.
It would be interesting for the next tourney to check the box that says no auctions.
I don't know about that. Auctions are a fun part of the game.
Yes, they're fun, but we can't limit the auction to certain things and not the others. Not yet.
Oh, I know. But most of the time, I think auctions are a fantastic little way to make the game, to spice the game up a little bit. It's like, is this really worth 20,000 debt? Do you think so? And each player obviously has the same chance at each auction. It's just sometimes, you know, getting it or not getting it might hurt one or the other a little bit more.
But it's like punishing you for hogging something and working so hard at doing it by driving your stock price to the ground.
Yeah, but that may just be a part of how valuable is it to try and claim and try and monopolize that whole thing if you know it might all get taken away in a random dice roll. I don't know.
No option. You cannot, after all this work, just give it up. And they know it.
The only thing he's shipping is aluminum. Oh no, he's shipping carbon, which is...
Pirate auction for $4,000. Can't agree with that. That's rather unfortunate. There isn't a whole lot great for Soren to take, I believe, but Dancing Bogman could have gotten a really great piracy on this silicon and just started running away with the game from there, potentially. Alright, we do have some silicon tiles finally being taken by Dancing Bogman. He is going to have those flowing into his base very quickly, which is certainly a good thing for him, but unfortunately it's just not going to compare to Soren's production of probably the single most valuable resource on this map right now.
Soren is comfortable.
Oh yeah, for sure. Another thing to note, well, the thing I'm concerned about with Soren, right, is he has 92,000 debt. He is not going light on debt this game. His power has been getting knocked out. He had a hard time getting more power up because of the exceptionally high silicon price. And so when he needed to move his solar panels over from on top of his carbon in order to continue upgrading, that was extremely expensive and certainly slowed down his game. That's his primary point of concern right now. I'm also, once again, I'm kind of concerned about this electronics production and how much money it's been making this whole time. It can be a great thing to get down at certain points, but for a long time, these basically don't do anything. And so I'd rather see it all go down at once you kind of let the price stabilize at a high position and pay off your debt somewhere else from something that would have made you more money in the process.
I think just the quarry, 3 quarries instead of those, you could have claimed them somewhere and gotten the silicon, sold them.
Another thing worth noting is that Dancing Bogman has been almost entirely ignoring the water market as it goes up and up and up. This is an option available to him as a robotic player. He does not need to actually secure water, but one thing he could do is nuke out these extremely low water tiles, make it so hard for Soren to produce his own life support resources, and force him to make claims up in the ice and up in the water at the northern portion of the map, so that he can even just survive and not be tanking so much debt.
He'd have to use his tiles to make fuel.
He would have to use extra tiles to kind of get this water. He'd have to maybe change these tiles into power. It's just, it would be a huge pain and
make him uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Don't make it so easy.
I also find these electronics factories from Soren very interesting. I have to wonder how much money those are making right now. Carbon at $80, silicon, I guess silicon's down to $39. They're probably okay, but still, that's a bit of an interesting decision to me, rather than something like, I don't know, farms, glass, maybe. It's a bit awkward. All right, pirate auction.
Doesn't care. He doesn't care about that at all.
Yeah.
He gave it to him. Yeah.
Dancing Bogman going to take that for a measly 9,000.
Take his water. Take his water.
His water would be a very good target for those pirates right now. Soren is going to go ahead and secure a little more over at the top of the map. and possibly be a bit better off, but
Pirates. I hate
just have to
those
see what
filthy
happens.
bandits.
Those really... Okay.
The pirates are.
Looks like they're aimed at the water and the silicon, maybe. Maybe they're just the silicon. I'm not really sure.
Silicon's not valuable enough.
Yeah, the silicon's not valuable in any way.
He
I
actually
don't
just
think those
said
are
that.
catching the water.
He just said the silicon is not valuable.
Yeah. So I don't really like the positioning on these whatsoever. Taking away this water from him and just storing it, letting that price go up and up and up and up and up, and selling it when you're finally making a push to end the game could have been a significantly better option available to Dancing Bogman.
Right now, stealing what's more important for your opponent is more important than you stealing what's important for you.
To some degree, yeah, I mean, for sure. Like, one way to kill off Soren at this point, Soren's already sitting at 100,000 debt. If you can just keep driving that up higher and higher and higher, then it makes it so easy to just finish these buyouts. Power's also gone completely nuts. Soren handling that a lot better than Dancing Bogman at this point. We're not seeing power surges down onto these very important solar panels that are driving Soren's stock price up. We're not seeing all of the black market we need to be. It is good to see this EMP. Definitely good to see this EMP. It's going to knock down the valuable electronics production, make it hard to buy him out. But Soren just responds by securing his own stock and saying, all right, I can wait. I can be patient. I'm concerned Dancing Bogman doesn't have the same luxury. All right. Iron production could be pretty nice for Dancing Bogman at this point. He does have a spare iron tile or two. These silicon tiles are not making very much money at all. Already with a stockpile of 400, could almost certainly be converted to something else. Something like some strong glass production that we haven't seen out of either player
The
yet.
black market is online.
Could be a good decision. And these water tiles, though, they're my big concern. Each of these pulling in a healthy $100 plus for Soren right now off just those 4 tiles alone, and Dancing Bogman's not doing a thing about it.
Yeah, he could have definitely given him a lot more of a hard time.
It is worth noting, neither player is actually even halfway to buying the other right now, so we could have some amount of game to play left, but I think Soren's just in such a strong position. He has the stock advantage both in terms of number of stocks and stock
shares.
value. And on top of that, I believe he's pulling in a bit more money a second just as I look around the map. We've got very little income on these silicon tiles, very little income on these steel mills. The iron production is strong and nice. That's going to be a good amount of money coming in. The electronics factories are almost consistently frozen out.
Break our stuff.
Well, that's a good catch. Good catch on that power surge, defending the hacker ray. I have to wonder what this hacker ray is going to do and when it's going to start doing it. I would have loved, absolutely loved, to see a glass transition from these silicon tiles. Yes, that's what he's going to do. He's going to short silicon, which is unfortunate. I don't know if that was the best decision in the world. I would have loved, absolutely loved, to see a glass transition, short glass. What's Soren going to do about it? He doesn't have any glass production.
Soren's power is killing him. He could have, well, not anymore. He could just like kill his power all the time.
Yeah, both players relying on solar panels. I think Soren did a better job reacting to that, keeping them shut down a bit more effectively. Both players hacking at this point. What's Soren going to do? Soren is just going for a very simple carbon short, which I think is going to be far more effective than the silicon short. Carbon already much higher in price. Soren has a good stockpile in both. Dancing Bogman, on the other hand, is just constantly driving that carbon price higher and higher and higher. So that's going to be a big problem for him. Silicon hack probably not even going to go off this game. We may just be waiting for this carbon short to go through and finally finish things up.
Oh, man. We can already a little bit predict what's going to happen.
Oh, almost certainly. We have a very good idea of what's happening. I do like Dancing Bogman is most certainly making more of an effort to shut Soren down this game, and you can tell. Soren's victory has been a lot slower coming, but unfortunately, I think he's still making the decisions that are eventually going to lead to him winning the game, and Dancing Bogman just isn't quite there. He's got too many tiles up for too long of a time doing nothing. Too many aluminum tiles making no money. A huge stockpile there. Too many silicon tiles making no money and a huge stockpile there. That's basically 7 tiles he's got completely down the drain doing nothing. Soren has nothing of the sort. Each and every one of his tiles has a purpose, and he's at least making some money when it's not frozen out. And I think that's the biggest difference between the two players this game.
Is he shorting glass?
Nope, nobody shorted glass. I'm pretty sure that one was
Oh,
natural.
okay.
Nobody's
So
actually gotten a hack off yet. Oh, Soren
Online.
should have his carbon hack going on now. So he just made what use he could out of the glass short, and now he's just moving into this carbon short. Soren's got the game whenever he notices. He's probably just going to control shift down and finish it up as soon as this short finishes up.
This game doesn't have miracles. So there you go.
Soren, pay more attention. There can be miracles this game. We saw indecision before.
But not that close.
No. There we go.
Good job. Tracer. It's some good news that game.
All right, that's going to be... That's going to do it. That's going to do it for this
You
round.
want to join the call?
Sure. I think I need to find the other headphones. Maybe I should in the car, but go look around. You usually keep shit around.
AJ, Indecision is saying that that he did it yesterday, but it was not that close a decision.
You can do it. Pretty much the primary miracle play you can come through with relies on your opponent making a bit of a mistake. You bait them in to buying up into a shortage that you create where you have a fairly significant stockpile, bigger than they do. You force them to buy into that, drive the price crazy, and then just sell it before they can. Drive that price back down to $1, and you can actually just eliminate so much of their money in the process of doing something like that. Works fantastically if you have an engineering bay as well set up for that particular resource.
People are calling it bait. Did they change the name?
Sorry,
to
engineering
bait?
lab. I'm always going to say engineering bay. It's too much of a StarCraft thing. I just...
Okay. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? Good.
So
like
you
it.
are
It's-
not on EDT. You're not on EST based.
No, I'm Central Time.
Central.
So I'm running an hour behind you guys right now.
I always thought you were kind of EDT for some reason.
Hey, Zoltar. How's it going?
Well,
Oh.
it's going apparently better for me than you right now.
Yeah, I'm having a rough week.
Yeah, it sounds like
Couple
it.
of weeks.
I was able to pull that off. So I think I'm gonna adjust that free resource auction or claimed resource auction.
Well,
That was tough.
I like the idea of the random events in this game, generally speaking. My primary
Yeah.
concern is... I discussed this a little bit, I think, yesterday on stream. This idea
Yeah.
that in other games with random events, like I believe League of Legends and how they handle their critical strike mechanic, there's a bit of normalization where random events can only push so far in one direction. Like this idea of if you crit strike too many times in a row, then your crit strike chance actually gets lowered until
Sure.
you've kind of not done that enough that it's a bit closer to the actual value. And maybe some kind of system like that in the game would be more acceptable. Like, all right, well, I already threw out one aluminum tile. If the guy didn't get it at that point, he's just screwed, you know?
Sure. Yeah. The trick is that it's not so obvious. Like that, I know Blizzard does that stuff too, and like it kind of makes sense. It's just that it's not always totally obvious who's going to benefit from something. Like in that situation, it is. But like from like the actual code point of view, it's not.
Oh, I
quite
know.
so
It's an
clear.
extremely difficult thing to do in a lot of ways, this idea. But even just this basic idea of, well, I already shorted silicon. Maybe I can make it highly unlikely that I'm going to natural short silicon again. Because I've seen that all kinds of times in games where there'll just be two natural shorts in a row on the same resource, and it just breaks the whole system down.
Yeah, I could probably fix that. I think what I might try is get rid of the don't repeat events. And I do like the tiles appearing, but I think if they were just low, it probably would have been okay.
It would have been helpful if they were low, because the thing about low tile is no matter
Then he can nuke them if he really wants to.
Exactly. Like both players still have counterplay at that point. One player can nuke them, it's very effective, it knocks the tile out almost completely. The other player has plenty of time to get his goon squad up and defend it if it's actually going to be that valuable.
Right. Yeah, exactly. What else did you think about the two matches?
I thought Dancing Bogman didn't really handle auctions as well as you did, generally speaking. Like, I actually really like how auctions work most of the time in the game, and I think they're totally fine. Like, I didn't see too many auctions. The only auction I was upset with was the aluminum ones, like 2 high aluminum in a row. Really,
Right.
that was just disgusting. But generally speaking, like the pirate auctions, I think Dancing Bogman just didn't know where he should stop in either direction. Like he either went way too low or way too high
Sure.
on those, and those were a
Yeah.
serious problem.
We've seen that before. I know, like Chump from Mohawk had that issue
Yeah.
a few days ago. Like, it went either like 28,000, they let it go for like 4 or something like that. I mean, I was in a tough situation because there was like literally nothing for me to pirate from him. So I was purely buying it defensively.
Oh yeah, for sure. You got to do
the
that
price-
sometimes.
Yeah, with the price of silicon, I really had to. Like, it was going
course.
up, and he had a good source of silicon. I had to claim a second silicon to like prevent him from running away from that market with that market, and yeah, it was interesting.
But that I really like that mechanic in the game, just because it does. I think it's okay. Like, okay, well, you secured the high value resource. Now you have to defend it. The other player, yeah, he doesn't have anything to steal. On the other hand, that either means it's all connected to its HQ and probably pretty easy to attack with a different black market effect, or he's just not pulling anything valuable. So why do you even care? You know?
Yeah. What I was surprised is that he didn't mutiny back the aluminum tile I grabbed from him.
I
thought
was
he
surprised
sure.
at that too.
Yeah.
For sure. I'd have loved to see a mutiny on back on that particular tile.
I thought, well, I'll get a couple aluminums and I'll force him to spend $2,000 basically, but I don't know, I mean, and maybe I'll be able to keep it. So who knows? That was one situation I would maybe be tempted to throw a goon squad on a mutiny, because it just seemed like if you're going all out for aluminum, it would be the right move to mutiny it back. But
yeah, potentially. I think
again,
that would have been the right move.
I don't actually know if goon squad sticks around. I should probably look that up at some point, because that would definitely affect my willingness to like put a goon squad on it. If it became a gift for the other player, I probably wouldn't ever do it.
Yeah. Oh, one thing that I thought was really interesting in both games. You both played Robotic one game each, right?
Yep.
And you both ended up in these situations where you had like 2 electronics factories running.
Sure. Yeah,
And I was
which is
sitting here
not
going,
tough.
it's not making you like literally any money. All that's
Yeah.
doing is just stopping you from gaining debt, and I guess there's value to that. But couldn't
Yeah.
you just make money in a better way, and
Yeah,
then
probably.
move into paying off your debt? Like if you're really
Probably.
concerned.
My intention was to get to 3. I just I think there was something else I really needed,
Yeah.
and I couldn't pass on. But I don't like going. I believe there's no use in electronics unless you can get a triple.
Yeah,
For
at
sure.
least. Well, especially when you're playing Robotic, right? Because, like, okay, well, if you get 2 down and you're not Robotic, then you're at least gaining, I think, 0.74 a second, right? 0.74, 0.75, something like that.
Right.
If you're Robotic, though, you're already consuming 0.6 of that. So you're getting almost nothing.
Yep. Yeah, it's tough. But at the same time, like I have now played some matches as Robotic where I really felt like I lost just because my debt got out of control.
It is very hard to control debt as Robotic, for sure. Like, I don't know if it's too much. It's really hard to say. I don't know. Frankly, what I would want for that is just to look at the actual numbers, how much is Robotic winning, and go from there.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen some really good players. I mean, it seems like PB Head plays with Robotic tons now. So, he obviously has found a way to make it work.